All right, welcome to the Boot Hill Sports Network, and I'll take the over podcast. Doug Edwards and Kenny Corley here with me tonight. What's going on, fellas?
I need South Carolina to play better.
I think Vegas knew something there. They're begging us to take them.
I teased
We
it to
suckered right into it too, didn't we?
I teased it to 17 and a half, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
It
We'll
wasn't in the
score
first
right
half,
now.
Sure.
They're down 20 at the half.
Hey, right now, let's take a moment for all the people in Kansas City, all the bad news going there, and say some prayers out for them people, man. Sad coming out of there with the shooting at the parade today, man.
Just can't have nothing.
Can't enjoy anything.
Sure can't, man.
What we used to say, Mark? Just can't have nothing.
Can't have nothing. All right, guys, any thoughts on the Super Bowl before we move on to college basketball?
Well, let me get it out of the way before Dougie starts. I told y'all week one of the playoffs, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And best of my recollection, nobody beat the man. He held a trophy. I mean, the guy's just is. There's regular season Patrick and there's playoff Patrick. And I think he's bored for 17 weeks, and then he come unhinged for the last 4 and showed why he is the best player in NFL football.
Doug has nothing. Look, nothing.
I didn't even watch the thing, but I did see the highlights, and he got a lot of help there too. With McCaffrey fumble, a guy letting a punt hit him in the foot, and all this crap. A guy can't even kick an extra point. You know, you don't deserve to win. You don't deserve to win when you have that many mistakes. I guess some people that when the lights are bright, they cower in fear. Some of them show out. Mahomes shows out usually, but he had a lot of help.
That was one of the best Super Bowls. Oh, really? Pretty exciting, especially for my wife who loves the Chiefs, and for $400 in our pocket, so we cannot complain.
I can't either. I was very thankful for overtime because I had Purdy over 227, and thank God for overtime because I got it.
I'll tell you a bad beat, and it was one of the prop bets that I would have suggested taking, and it was Purdy over 12 and a half yards rushing, and I would have said over, and he had the over. He was at 13, and you remember when he took a knee and knocked him back 1 yard. He ended with 12 yards because he took a knee at the end of regulation. With 3 seconds left, they got the ball. He took it. That's a bad beat.
Boy, it sure is.
That's a bad rule.
But I definitely was going to suggest that.
I think that's a bad rule. I don't like that at all. I think that's terrible. You got to understand the situation. It's not like he took a sack. It's not like he scrambled. He took a knee.
Right. Yeah. It helps on rushing attempts, but it sure doesn't help on rushing yards.
Right. That's why I think it needs to go away. If it's not going to help one, then it should hurt the other. You got to get rid of it. But I didn't bet it, but I know a lot of folks it did. So, oof.
All right, man, let's go ahead and move on to some college basketball. Let's talk about the top 25 here. Get the poll up. We got Oklahoma at 25 at 18-6. Florida Atlantic keeps slipping as they are barely hanging into the top 25. They're at 24. Indiana State, who's probably going to be out next week after that loss, as they creeped in at 22-3 and then got beat. Kentucky 16-7. They keep falling. I can't even believe they're in the actual top 25 with a 16-7 record.
Had a good bounce back win though last night.
But they are Kentucky. That is right. They did have a good bounce back win, but 16-7. Come on now. Virginia at 19-5 is 21. Wisconsin, who also keeps slipping, as they are down 9 spots, as they are 16-8, and they're down to number 20. BYU sits at 19. They're up 2 spots. St. Mary's coming in at number 18, as they are the big mover of the week, as they moved 8 spots up. 17 is Creighton. 16 is Dayton. Alabama creeps in at 15 at 17-7. The Illini, Illinois at 14. Auburn at 13. Baylor at 12. South Carolina, who is 21-3 at number 11 and currently getting their ass kicked right now. And number 10 is Iowa State, who we talked about a little later. Any comments on 10 through 25, fellas?
Well, Virginia took a hard knock last night, too. First home loss in like 23, 20.
Yes. They had a 20-something game winning streak.
Yeah, I had the longest streak in the nation. Paul, we still got to, North Carolina still got to go there. That's going to be a tough one, especially the way we're playing. But, yeah, there's a lot of these teams losing. There's a lot of shakeup.
A lot of teams that are overrated that I don't think should still be in the top 20. I agree with Mark. Kentucky's there, but Kentucky's there due to name recognition. We all know that. That's a brand. We get it. They're a really good basketball team, but hey, they're losing basketball games like everybody else. And I think they're rewarded because of what they bring to the table. Florida Atlantic should not be in the top 25 at all. They're not a very good basketball team. Oklahoma, they just got boat raced, I believe, last night by Baylor. On their floor. And, of course, we're going to talk about Oklahoma in a little bit later. I think Wisconsin shouldn't be there. I mean, you're talking about a team that blew a 19-point lead in the second half, not in the game, in the second half to Nebraska. And last time I checked, Nebraska wasn't relevant since Tom Osborne was on the sidelines, and that's a football team. That's terrible. And I think Doug's fixing to say the 10 through 25 is a cluster of just madness. I mean, you can put anybody in there. There's probably 15 other teams you could throw in there as well and take 15 out. There's way too much there, but I think that's the separation between the top 10 and 11 through 25.
All right, so let me see. Number 9 is my Duke Blue Devils. Easy for me to say. Tennessee at 8, North Carolina at 7. They fall 4 spots. And Kansas falls to number 6. And there's a team that keeps losing games as well. They are 19-5 now. And number 6 in the nation. I don't see that either. Arizona at 5. There's another team that's not consistent enough for me. Marquette at number 4. We seen Marquette earlier in the year start out good, and they hit a skid, but now they are on a tear again. So they are currently 18-5, and then Houston Cougars. The top 3 teams have been the most consistent, I would say. UConn at 1, Purdue at 2, and Houston at 3. So they all been hanging around right around there all year long. So any thoughts on 9 through 1, fellas?
Yeah, it's not a hard prediction, but UConn and Purdue are going to be 1 and 2. 1 and 2, and I think Houston will probably finish off enough.
Hey, Doug, we can't hear you.
I say UConn and Purdue, they're definitely going to be 1 seeds. They could drop 2 or 3 games before the end of the year, and they'd still be 1 seed. But Houston, I believe, will creep in there as a 3rd one. But the other one, the 4th one's up for grabs right now.
Mark, I've been saying all along, and every time we have our group text, I tell you, I say it. Kansas and Arizona are the worst bets ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a better chance just giving me your money, let me invest it in the stock market than betting on those 2 teams. They're just they're not very consistent. I think both of them will end up 2 seeds at best, just because of where they play. I disagree with Doug. I agree with the 3, but this is going to kill my soul to say it, but unless North Carolina just falls off the face of the earth or they get boat raced in the ACC tournament, they'll lock up that 4th seed, but their asses are going to get shipped out west. I agree also that Purdue and UConn have been head and shoulders above everybody. Houston's a solid basketball team, but, there again, I think they play in the overrated Big 12. So I'm not that sold on them. Kelvin Sampson had to go out and act a fool in a 25-point game and complain about a call to get ejected. I think the dude's a clown, but top two teams are the top two teams. I mean, they're head and shoulders better than everybody in the country.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, so now we'll move on to our matchups for the week. First one on the schedule is Texas Tech versus Iowa State, a Big 12 matchup, as he was just talking about the overrated Big 12. Texas Tech at 18-6, 7-4 in the conference. Iowa State currently ranked number 10. That's a good Iowa State team. They're 19-5, and they are 8-3 in the conference. Matchup predictor has Red Raiders at 15.1. And the Cyclones from Iowa State at 84.9. Texas Tech led by Isaacs at 16.5 a game. Gilbert leads the way for the Cyclones at 13.8. Washington leading rebounder at 7.7 for Texas Tech. And King leads the way for Iowa State at 5 rebounds a game. I don't know if you watched Texas Tech last night, guys, but very impressive. And I know this one's at Iowa State. Both teams allow 67.7 for Texas Tech and then 62 for Iowa State. So similar numbers there. And points for 76 for the Red Raiders, 78 for Iowa State. This has got a great matchup written all over it, guys. With being in Iowa State, I'm going to have to pick Iowa State on this one. I like the Red Raiders and what they showed me last night, but I'm going to have to take Iowa State at Iowa State. What you got, Doug?
Yeah, Texas Tech, man, they look like world beaters. What, they beat Kansas by 28, 29?
32.
Yeah, Bill Self had seen it was his second time ever to get ejected, and he wanted that one. He was tired. He was tired of watching that crap. I could tell he wanted to be thrown out. But I mean, they looked really good. But that was at home, and like you said, I'm going to take Iowa State with the home court advantage. I'm going to take a lot of home teams this week, and that's one of them. I'm definitely taking Iowa State.
Well, first of all, I ejected myself from watching the game, so I went with Bill. That was not very good.
I loved it.
I mean, I did. I mean, like I've been saying, every time we have our group text about games, Kansas is just Jekyll and Hyde who's showing up.
Especially on the road.
Other than that Hutchinson kid, and I know McCullers is hurt and they're playing some guys, and I understand that. But you're Kansas and you're 5-star deep all the way across. You should not lose by 32 anywhere. And they're inconsistent. But on this game, I do like Texas Tech, but I am going to take Iowa State because it is in Ames. But man, right now it is tough to bet against Texas Tech.
Yep.
Yeah, especially if they play like they did last night. They can beat anybody.
Well, earlier in the season, they strolled into Austin. They strolled into Austin and they dump trucked the Horns earlier in the season.
All right, so the next matchup we got. Yeah, community lock for sure. Next one we got the Blue Jays from Creighton, who come in at 18-7, 9-5 in their conference, and they're ranked number 17 in the nation against the Butler Bulldogs at 16-9, 7-7 in the conference, so a 500 team in the conference. Matchup predictor shows the Blue Jays of Creighton at 68.7, and the Dogs from Butler at 31.3. Shillman leads the way at 18.3 for Creighton, and for Butler, that is Brooks at 15.8 a game. Shillman also leads the way in rebounding for Creighton at 8.7. Thomas, the leading rebounder for Butler at 6.4. Team stats, points. Creighton averaging 81 a game, Butler at 80. Points allowed, 69 for Creighton, 73 for Butler. Last five, Creighton has beat Georgetown. Xavier lost to Providence in overtime, and they lost to Butler earlier in the year, 99-98, guys. What a game that was. And they beat DePaul, as everybody's beating DePaul. They've only won 3 games, and UConn is beating DePaul as we speak. Butler's last 5, lost to Marquette, beat Providence, lost to Connecticut, beat Creighton, and beat Villanova in double overtime, 88-81. Guys, if they can win in Creighton, I think they can win at home. So I'm going to take those Butler Bulldogs in an upset.
Yeah, Butler's been playing pretty good ball here lately. They've been even the games they lost, they've been pretty close. And I can't remember what the UConn game was. It was a little spread there, but it wasn't too bad. Playing number one team in the nation. I'm gonna take Butler at home as well.
71-62 in that game.
Yeah.
Well, I really figured I was on an island on this one, but I'm taking Butler.
The Butler did it, baby.
Man, I mean, I've watched them play. Here's my thing, and I have a list here of my top 5 overrated and my top 5 underrated. And Creighton is my number 5 in my overrated list. They got that kid Kalkbrenner. He's 7'1", and man, that's great. But when they play smaller teams like Butler who want to get up and down the court, it's 4-on-5. That guy's not a factor because he just can't run. And Butler's guards are unbelievable. I've watched them play 2 or 3 times. I watched the Xavier game due to financial restraints, but I did watch it. And but I'm taking Butler.
The Butler did it. There we go, guys.
Another community
lock there. All right, now we're going to move back to the Big 12.
Overrated.
Kenny Corley's favorite conference.
It is.
Texas Longhorns at 16-8, 5-6 in the conference, going against the number 3 team in the nation, Houston Fly Slamma Jamma Cougars at 21-3, 8-3 in the conference. Houston matchup predictors 93.1, 6.9 for the Longhorns. Abrams leads the way for the Longhorns at 17 a game. Cryer leads the way for the Cougars at 14.8. Mitchell, leading rebounder for the Longhorns, 8.6. And then Roberts leads the way for Houston at 7.1. Points for Texas at 76.8. Houston, 73.6 points allowed. Here's the difference. Texas is giving up 67 a game. Houston only 54 a game. They do have a good defense. Texas last 5, they beat West Virginia, lost to that Iowa State team. They beat TCU. They lost to Houston in overtime at home, as Kenny was talking about earlier, 76-72. And BYU, they lost that one 84-72. Houston comes in on a 2-game win streak. So they beat Cincinnati and Oklahoma State. They lost to Kansas 78-65 in a game that I really didn't feel like they showed up for. And, of course, they beat Texas and they beat Kansas State. So they're 4-1 out of their last 5. I believe they're going to move on and get another win against the Longhorns at home. I'm going to take those Cougars, baby.
Yeah, Houston will get after it, and they'll put defense on Texas. Texas won't be able to do much. I think this is an easy win for Houston.
This is going to get me in trouble. But, yeah, Houston's going to win. Hope she's not listening in the other room. Houston will win. I don't think it'll be easy. I think Texas will put up a fight. There again, I think Houston's another one of them Big 12 teams that could be dominant, but they pick and choose when they decide to play, and they do tend to play to the level of their competition and let teams hang around. They don't have that, let me put my foot on your throat, killer instinct and smash you by 20 like they've had in the past. Houston does win, though.
Community lock on that one as well, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Going to be any disagreements tonight?
There might be one on games 5
down the line.
Yeah.
All right, I don't think there'll be one on this one. We'll see. But next up on the agenda is Marquette versus UConn, number 4 versus 1. Marquette coming at 19-5, 10-3 in the conference. The Huskies at 22-2, 12-1 in the conference. Matchup predictor, Marquette 24.8. The Huskies 75.2. Kolek is the leading scorer for Marquette at 16 a game. Spencer leads the way for UConn at 15.3. Team stats: Marquette averaging 78 a game, UConn 81. Points allowed: Marquette 68.2, UConn 64. So these teams are really evenly matched by the stats, guys. Marquette's last 5, they have rock and roll. They beat Butler, beat St. John's, beat Georgetown, beat Villanova, and beat Seton Hall. UConn's last 5, they've done the same. Beat Georgetown, Butler, St. John's, Providence, and Xavier, guys. Well, you got to give the advantage to the number 1 team in the nation, UConn, and plus they're at home. So I'm going to take the Huskies in this one, guys.
Yeah, like you said, now Marquette hit a little snag earlier in the season, but they've really turned it around, turned it on. They're coming on, and with a big win here, who knows? They could come up with that other number 1 seed. But being at UConn, best team I've seen so far, defending champions, I'm going with UConn.
That Collick kid from Marquette can. I mean, he's a bucket getter, but UConn just too much talent, well coached, and the home court advantage is going to be huge. But I think UConn wins.
Well,
Community lock.
All right. Let's see. Next one we're going to go back to the Big 12 once again is the Kansas Jayhawks, the number 6 team in the nation, at 19-6, 7-5 in the conference. Well, they're having a tough time in that conference.
Because it's
Oklahoma is 18-7, 6-6 in the conference, and they are ranked number 25 in the nation. KU at 44.8 on the matchup predictor. Oklahoma at 55.2. McCullough, guard for KU, leads the way at 19.5. McCullum, the guard out of Oklahoma, he averages 14 a game. Rebounds, of course, is Longhorn Dixon for Kansas. It's 10.8 a game. Moore at 6. Assist leaders, Harris Jr. for KU, 6.5. And then Uzan for OU at 4.5. Points for Kansas, 77 a game. Oklahoma, 76.7. Points allowed, 68 by KU, 66.6 by OU. Field goal percentage, as KU is shooting 50%, OU 47.3. Rebounds a game, KU 36, OU 36.4. These stats are very, very close, guys. Assists 19 a game for Kansas, 13 a game for OU. Blocks is both 3.9 and 3.4, excuse me, on the other one. Steals 7.6, 6.3. So you can see very similar. Of course, Kansas took one on the chin last night, 79-50. Baylor, they would win 64-61. Lost to rivalry K-State 75-70 in overtime, and they beat a good Houston team 78-65. They beat Oklahoma State. OU's last game, they lost to Baylor 79-62. Beat Oklahoma State, beat BYU. They lost to Central Florida at Central Florida 74-63. We have seen Central Florida pull off some upsets down there in Orlando as they beat Kansas as well. And let me see, Oklahoma also beat Kansas State 73-53. Guys, I'm going to do this for my old buddy in Oklahoma. So I'm going to pick the Sooners. Boomer Sooners.
Yeah, Oklahoma really should come out. They need this game. They need this game pretty bad. They should come out with some urgency. And Kansas has not been a good road team. They're not a deep team this year. They hadn't been a good road team. But coming off of that whooping at Texas Tech, I'm thinking that Self's I think he chewed some butts, and I think he's going to get them back right. And Oklahoma, I just hadn't had any faith in them. They hadn't shown me much. So I'm going to go with Kansas on the road. I'm going to take the road team here.
Is McCullers playing for Kansas? Has that been said? He's out.
Has not been said.
Don't really think it matters. I mean, this is a tough one to pick because there again, it's that Big 12 that is just trash. Both teams are up and down, about as consistent as my FanDuel account, and it's tough. But I'm gonna agree. This is also gonna kill my soul. I'm gonna agree with Doug.
Oh no!
I know hell's freezing over as I talk. I'll be wearing
Leaving you out on that island, Mark.
Yeah.
That'd be all right.
Hey, if you really want to know the truth, this was 2 out of 3 coin toss. But I'm gonna take Kansas because I just think I'm like Doug. I mean, Self is not gonna go through 2 televised ass whoopings like that. He's not gonna do it. He's not that coach. So I'm gonna take Kansas. But unlike our name, whatever the over under is, take the under. Because neither one of these teams can commit suicide.
I tell you what, if I'm going to be left out and alone, it's going to be in Oklahoma because they got casinos everywhere, so I can watch the ball game and place some bets out there.
By the way, they're Indian owned, so be careful.
They are Indian owned. Hey, there's a lot of them out there on the reservation, though.
There's a reason
And,
look at.
and you can go in and gamble at 18.
There you go. You sure can.
Oh hell!
All right, we got a question here from one of our fan viewers, and y'all know him as Sherman Manley III. He wants to know what happened to Gonzaga this year. You want to touch on that, Kenny?
Reality has set in. Mark
NIL's catching up with them, ain't it?
Yeah,
Mark
Few and Gonzaga, they had deep pockets to pay all those foreign guys. Well, now everybody else has deep pockets to pay those foreign guys, and he's not getting the Sabonuses of the world to come over and play anymore. Nobody wants to transfer there. I mean, because now there's so much parity in the money. You know, Doug's right. Gonzaga had the money to get all those foreign kids and get them out of Serbia and all them other desolate countries that they lived in to come over to the States and play basketball. But now they're not the only fish in the pond. So reality has set in. I don't even think they're the best team in their conference. I think it's St. Mary's.
St. Mary's, yeah.
Is a really good basketball team.
San Francisco ain't bad either.
It's a really good basketball team. I've made a little coin on San Francisco, the Dons. So, you know, that's the reality of it. Is they're not getting the foreign players. They're not getting those guys to come play for them.
Now they did have a good win last Saturday in Lexington.
They did.
Yeah. Tough win.
Yeah. It might sneak them in at large if they finish up strong.
I think regardless, I think they're going to fall into that 10 to 12 line.
Tell you what, Kentucky lost 3 games at home in a row, did they not?
Never in their team's history.
I know.
Adolph Rupp got out of his grave and kicked Calipari in the nuts for that one.
Goes to show you how good college basketball. You got Kansas losing at home. You got Kentucky losing games at home. You got Virginia who lost the game at home and ruined their winning streak. So, man, I'll tell you what, it's wide open.
We had some buddies there last night, and they had a sit down with Calipari yesterday afternoon, and they got them straight, you know. So that got the Ole Miss win, and they tell me things are back online down there. Now I don't know. This is the Bargers, you know, Alan and Devin. They were both there at the game, so they say they had a meeting with Cal, and they lined him out, and things should be going pretty good from the rest of the year. That's what I hear.
Well, they better listen to some rednecks from Cooter because they'll run over you with that damn John Deere green tractor, won't they?
That's right.
All right, Kenny, you said you had a list of overrated teams and underrated. Let's hear that list.
My overrated top 5: Kansas, Arizona, Wisconsin, Florida Atlantic, and Kentucky.
I
have no complaints at that list whatsoever.
My underrated. Doug, you got any complaints, by the way?
No, I don't have any complaints on that. I thought you had Creighton in there though as an overrated.
They're right there. They're
on that bubble.
Yeah, they're on the. That's my that.
Honorable mention. We're gonna give them an
Yeah.
honorable mention.
Yeah,
Honorable mention.
they're 5B.
Yeah.
But my underrated, I still think, even though South Carolina's getting drummed, I think South Carolina's underrated. I think Nevada is underrated. I think Texas Tech is underrated. And I do think Seton Hall is underrated.
Yeah, Seton Hall for sure. Yeah, I kind of like those. I like Texas
Nope.
Tech if they can continue what they showed me last night. Yeah, they're
Nevada
definitely
dropped a
underrated.
tough one late last night. 1 point to New Mexico.
Yeah.
At New Mexico, at Albuquerque.
No, it was at home.
It was at Nevada.
Yeah, it was in Reno.
But I think
That's a couple good teams though.
Steve Alford is doing a great job at that school. And
Yes, he is.
I like him. I like him.
Hey, I think the Mountain West is a little bit underrated as a conference in itself.
I agree 100%. That I would watch Mountain West basketball over Big 12.
They got some good teams out there for sure.
San Diego State.
Hey, I tell you what, I went and got married out in Vegas 2 years ago. I went to the Mountain West Championship game, seen Boise State and San Diego State. Went and got married, and then we went to March Madness, baby.
Well,
There you go.
With a watch.
I married a good woman, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah, let's
Right
get married and go watch basketball, baby.
That or she didn't know what she was getting, but man.
They was honeymooning in Vegas. All right, now our last game of the night, guys. You talking about two
We got two left.
teams that, yeah, that's right. We added one. So let me go ahead and get this game out of the way. And two teams that are been very inconsistent, in my opinion, and that's those Kentucky Wildcats and Auburn Tigers, guys. Let me get my stuff pulled up here. Kentucky comes in at 17-7, 7-4 in the conference, and Auburn currently 19-5, 8-3. They're playing South Carolina as we speak, and last I heard, they was up by 15, I believe.
They're
That's
up
good.
20. They're up 27.
God,
27. Damn.
75 to 48.
Yeah, so
Fuck.
South Carolina must have stayed in Columbia, South Carolina. Or is that where they're playing at? Shit, no, they got to be playing at Auburn.
They're
They're
playing
playing
They're playing on the plane.
Yeah, man, that just don't happen. All right, but anyway, back to this game. Kentucky 17.3, Auburn at 82.7. I guess Bruce Pearl must have chewed some ass out because Auburn's showing up tonight. Reeves leads the way for UK at 19.4. Brome leads the way for Auburn at 16 a game. Mitchell, rebounder for Kentucky at 7.5. Brome also the leading rebounder for Auburn at 8.6. Shepard, 4.2 assists a game. I like that kid, I'll tell you. And Donaldson for Auburn, averaging 3.5 assists a game. Scoring-wise, UK averaging 88.9, Auburn at 82. Points allowed, UK 78.1. Auburn, good defensive team, giving up 67.1. Field goal percentage, UK at 49, Auburn at 46. Rebounds are almost even at 38.7 and 39.3. Assists is both at 17 a game. Blocks are both at 6. Steals are both at 7. Actually 7.8 and 7.5. So there you go. Kentucky's last 5. Beat Ole Miss, lost to Gonzaga. Beat Vanderbilt, lost to Tennessee, and lost to Florida as well in overtime, 94-91. Auburn's last 5. Lost that game to Florida, where I don't even think they showed up, man. It was 81-65 in a surprising, good old-fashioned butt whooping there. And then they beat Alabama, beat Ole Miss, beat Vandy, and lost to Mississippi State. So Auburn is just as inconsistent as Kentucky guys. And really, I don't know who in the hell to pick in this game, but with Auburn being at home, I guess, and the way they're playing tonight, I'm going to pick Auburn on this one.
Yeah, well, Kentucky's finally getting healthy. They're getting some of their big guys back, getting a lot more depth. And like I said, I had some Cooter connection go down there to Lexington Monday and then stay last night for the game. And They had a little one-on-one meeting, little private meeting with Cal, get him straight, line him out. But with all that being said, I'm still going to take Auburn because Auburn's at home and Bruce Pearl's going to have them boys ready, and they love to beat Kentucky. And I think they're going to do it Saturday. I got Auburn.
Yeah, I'm with Mark and both y'all on this one. This one was tough, but I'm going to jump on the island.
What? Changed his mind right there on the spot.
No. I got it right there. I just, it's getting that time of year for Cal to be Cal. Wagner's back healthy. Kentucky looked like Kentucky last night up and down the floor. I think obviously Auburn is shooting their wad tonight. And Bruce Pearl's not that really good in big games. He tends to find a way to disappear. I don't know if it's that Tennessee coach in him that, because, the Big Orange disappeared everything. But I'm going to take the Cats.
So the Wildcats on the road, huh?
Yeah, can't win at home. Got to win somewhere.
All right. Now, our last game is going to be an ACC matchup between the 15-9 Wolfpack from North Carolina State, and they are 7-6 in the ACC, and then Clemson at 17-7, 7-6 in the ACC, and actually they're going to add to that as they won earlier tonight. This game is at Clemson at Littlejohn, where the Tigers are pretty darn good. 81.1 on the matchup predictor, 18.9 for the Wolfpack. Wolfpack led by Home at 16.8 a game, and then Hall leads the way for Clemson at 19.9. That kid can shoot. He's averaging field goal percentage at 49.7. So there you go. Diarra is the leading rebounder for the Wolfpack at 6 a game. Shiflin is the leading rebounder for the Tigers at 9.5. Points for NC State 75.4. Clemson at 79 points allowed. Wolfpack at 70.6. Clemson at 72.2. NC State's last 5 lost to Wake, lost to Pittsburgh, and then they beat Georgia Tech, Miami, and lost to Doug's new favorite team, the Syracuse Orange. Clemson's last 5. They beat Syracuse, beat North Carolina 80-76, and a good win there.
What was that, Mark? You broke out.
I broke up. Let me see. They beat North Carolina 80-76. Did you hear me all that time? 80-76. They beat North Carolina.
I got you.
Then they lost to Virginia, and they beat Louisville. And guess what? They lost to Duke 72-71. That's right. They lost to Duke and beat North Carolina.
Duke sure didn't.
So there we go. I'm going to take the Clemson Tigers for the win. Go Tigers.
Well, I'm not sold on Clemson. Hadn't been all year. They're an okay team. We all know that P.J. Hall can ball, but what makes that team go is that Shefflin kid, man. That kid hustles. He does all the little things. I noticed he was leading the team in rebound, which is not a surprise. But he's going to make plays. He's going to make hustle plays. He's going to get loose balls. He's in the right spot a lot of times. He just knows positioning. And I'm going to go with Clemson because they're at home. I'm still not sold on Clemson they're not going very deep in the tournament or anything like that. But they should win this game against North Carolina State.
Mark, it was tough for me to gauge it. You got a Clemson team that gets run off the court by Memphis, beat by Duke, but then shows up and looks like a national title contender and beats Carolina in the Dean Dome.
They lost to us too.
They lost at Littlejohn. In the Dean Dome. That's on the History Channel. In the Dean Dome.
That was this season.
So this one was tough for me.
It's actually been since Memphis beat them.
But I mean, if Memphis beats you, you're probably a pretty good team. And if Duke beats you, you're probably a pretty good team. I'm going to take Clemson.
Community lock.
No surprise there, huh?
Nah.
None whatsoever. All right, man. That's all we got on picks. Anything else we need to discuss?
Yeah, one game we didn't talk about too much. We didn't talk about, but I'm gonna throw in as my wild card, and that is at 1:00 on the ACC network. SM North Carolina Tar Heels. They're gonna get back right against Virginia Tech. We're back home. We're fixing to get back right. We're gonna get our heads out of our butts. Ever since we put that whooping on Duke about double digits or something like it. Really, did we ever trail? I don't think we might have trailed 2-0.
9. I had
Might have
7.5.
trailed
9.
2-0 in that game, but I don't think I know in the second half it was never within 7 points. But ever since then, we've had our heads up in the clouds. But we're going to get back Saturday, and then we get a whole week off. We take off to the next Saturday. So that's my wild card game. Take North Carolina over Virginia Tech.
Wow, that's such a risk pick. Man, let me book that now.
Hey, the way they've been playing, it is a risk pick. I tell you.
No, that
They don't get that head out their ass. I ain't gonna say Cloud. I'm just gonna say ass. They're gonna mess around and lose that #1 spot in the ACC.
I swear, they deserve it. The way they've been playing.
Be right there on them.
Since the Duke game, they played a good 2-half game. They had 4 turnovers was all in that whole game. They played good defense. They played good offense. They shared the ball, rebounded the ball, everything. Since then, they've been so inconsistent. Turnovers, not hustling, not grabbing loose balls. I don't know if they thought, hey, we beat Duke, we got it now, or what. But they better wake up. There's still games to be played.
It's almost like they put all their effort and energy into that one game. Like, man, the hell with it.
Yeah, or they just thought, man, we won that game. That's the one we wanted to win.
That game right there will take you a lot out of you, too, Hope.
And it woke y'all up.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't lost sense.
That's right, baby. Coming for you.
Yeah,
all right, man. We're going to wrap up the show. We will be back on next week. Hopefully, we'll have a few other people with us. We're missing Josh and Johnny, and got one other person that could be joining us. I'll talk to him this week, and we'll see. He was a little under the weather this week, but hopefully he'll be on. And this is Mark Manley. That is Doug Edwards, and that is Hubert Sucks.
Go Heels.
See you next week.
Go ahead.
I'll take you over podcast.
Little Penny sucks.